has he ever asked you out? Because if you are not asked you out, if anything goes wrong, you're going to say to himself.
Has he proposed? Let's make it simple. Because if you're saying asked you out,
yeah.
like, okay, I'm asking you out on a date. Has he? Hi there.
Hello.
I am Chidi, Akunna.
And I am Victor, Akunna.
Thank you for joining us. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, Foundation for Family Affairs, please subscribe and turn on your notification bell. Alright. So today we'll be addressing 7 relationship pitfalls every single must avoid.
Absolutely.
7 relationship pitfalls every single must avoid. You know, from time to time when we see singles make some mistakes, we're like, ouch, don't do that. Why? So we just thought we'll do this video to address some of these things. It's not an exhaustive list, but 7 things you can work with. And the first is to avoid getting into a relationship without defining it.
Absolutely.
Avoid getting into a relationship without defining it. Sometimes you hear some ladies say, oh, that guy is hitting me. Or you hear some guy saying, oh, I need to check that lady out. And they just get in. They just start a relationship. And it's open-ended. Why are you in this relationship? You know, and that's why sometimes you then hear people saying, oh, we've been in this for so long, I don't even know what we're doing together. And then they start calling it a situationship. You know, terms like that start flagging up. And some people tell you, oh, it's complicated. No, don't complicate your life. Let's make life easy. Define the relationship.
And so let's say sometimes some people will say why we are working in this relationship without defining it because they are thinking, am I not too forward? If I try to ask him what are we doing, is it not going to put him off? Hey girl, we're talking about one of the most important decisions in your life.
Right.
Alright, so the thing about not defining this relationship, because usually, not all the time, usually it impacts on ladies the most. Because what happens, paint this scenario. You're hanging out with these guys, he picks you up, he drops you off at home, people see both of you together in the car. Okay, you guys maybe worship in the same place. Okay, they also see you guys after office hours. What do you think people will begin to conceive? What do you think people will begin to assume? Yeah, they will assume you're in a relationship. So now, play this other scenario. A guy has been looking at you, checking you out, because that's what guys don't just, especially when it comes to making serious decisions, they don't just pounce on you. They want to find out, is it worth my time? Yeah. So the guy has been checking you out. So he sees this guy, picks you up, drop you. You know, you guys shake. You know, once in a while he hugs you. What do you think is being?
You're taken
automatically. So I'm trying to help you to see it from the point of view of someone who's observing. So you know that maybe you are not in a relationship. He may think, I don't know. So the key thing there is this: before you take it too long and emotions begin to entangle, all right. Ask yourselves, what are we doing? You know, sometimes let me just give this example. I always recommend ladies ask the question. If a guy has dated you once, you guys have gone out on a date once, twice, the third time, hey girl, it's high time you asked him that question. So I remember a situation where someone came to ask me and said, this guy that I'm in a relationship with, that's how she puts it, said, he has not really asked me out officially, but he keeps saying, this is how our children will look, this is how we plan our marriage, this is how we plan our family. You know, I asked her a question. Has he ever asked you out? Because if you are not asked you out, if anything goes wrong, you're going to say to himself.
Has he proposed? Let's make it simple. Because if you're saying asked you out,
yeah.
like, okay, I'm asking you out on a date. Has he in clear terms said, will you marry me or something, you know? But it has to be clear.
Absolutely, because without that, you can't really say in a relation. There's something my wife like to say, you know, unless there's an offer
and an acceptance of that offer, there's no agreement. So there's no relationship.
Don't assume there's a relationship. Okay. So the question is, how do I go about this? If you've gone out like once, you've dated once, you've gone out again, gone out the third time, and he's saying, I enjoy spending time with you, ask him a question. So how do you define me to your friends? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Not in an accusatory tone, but probably you know the guy, you know the way to put it across. Some guys like it straight, some guys like it in a joking way. You know, find out how it works, but know so that you know that whether you begin to check out, you begin to untangle your emotion. because the longer you go into it, the more difficult you get to.
That's true. That's true. Okay. So the second point is avoid getting into a relationship in the hope that the other person will complete you. Avoid getting into a relationship in the hope that the other would complete you. You know, sometimes this thing sounds so cool. Oh, he completes me. She completes me.
Yes.
You know, but what we know is that relationships work better when people who are whole go into such relationships. Okay, you come from a place of wholeness. You meet someone who is whole. Can you imagine what you'll be producing together?
Absolutely.
You know, the mix. You'll be giving off wholeness to each other. Not having one person so reliant on the other. Okay? One who is emotionally empty, expecting the other to fill him or her up.
Yes.
You know, and then it's just distorted.
So relationship is not 50-50. It's 100-100.
Yes.
You come because you are bringing something to the table.
Yeah.
You come fully complete the way you are. You have your talent, you have your ideas, you have your acumen, you have your attitude, everything that you are bringing to that relationship. And it's that spice that both of you are bringing that will create the new relationship you're going to have. Because we always say that every relationship is different. You know, the principles may be the same, but the workings of those principles will be different. So that's why you see, you can't have the same marriage. You know, some people say, I want to marry a man like my dad. There is no man like a dad. There's only one dad across the whole globe. So the person you're going to marry will share some traits, but yet you can't have the same kind of relationship like your parents do. So in that situation, you need to understand that relationship is both an art and a science. You are working it out the way it is. We are leveraging on eternal principle, on proven principles. So the key thing there is this. Don't go into a relationship expecting the other person to make you happy, to complete you. You know, otherwise you find yourself in this situation where there is nothing the guy will do that will ever make you happy, because happiness is your personal responsibility. You go into a relationship trying to draw identity from the relationship, trying to draw a sense of meaning from the relationship. No. Be a whole adult, healthy individual before you go into any relationship. Very important.
Okay, the next one is crucial. Avoid getting into a relationship without knowing your identity and values. Avoid, this is a big one. Now, when we talk about identity, that's who you are. That's the crux of who you are, what you do. It defines your assignment, your purpose, why are you here. Okay, these things should be clear to you.
Absolutely.
In that case, you would then know who would fit into this work with you, into this assignment with you. You don't just go out there and pick up misfits and then you're wondering,
good point.
How can we make this work?
Good point. So it's very good. It's good for you to have that clear picture about who you are. Now, some people know who they are. Then they get into a relationship because they are trying to keep that relationship. They begin to downplay their personal values. They begin to downplay, for example, your personal, who you are is that you don't like staying out late nights. That's how you've been able to work. Now you get to a relationship and then you're finding out that the guy likes to be hanging out till 1 a.m. in the morning. That's not you. Okay, so that I don't lose him. You are cutting short. Okay, that's even easy.
It's now compromising.
Yes, it's not compromising. That's even easy. That has to do with preference. But when it comes to your personal values, values of integrity, you are finding yourself having to lie about where you are, having to compromise your personal standard, your work ethics, just to keep a relationship. Even if you get that relationship, you won't be happy, because thing about values is the core of your identity, the core of who you are. If you are constantly living a life that is at variance with your values, that is a sign for frustration. So if that relationship doesn't align with your values, that's why we say opposite attracts when it comes to personality and temperament. But when it comes to values, likes must attract. Alright, I share a common value with my wife. That's why we're able to do this video. That's why we're able to live the life the way we live. If we don't share similar values on very fundamental principles, there will be conflict to be a daily affair. Okay, so don't lower your values. Don't throw away your identity or lower your personal values. Alright, to accommodate a relationship is not what keeps you.
So to that, I would just say, discover your identity, know your values, and be true to them.
Absolutely.
Be true to them.
Absolutely.
This is. Anyone coming in your space should be able to accept them and be happy with them, happy to live with you.
Good point. I was going to say earlier, I said, there is somebody that is made for you.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm not saying that's one person only. I'm saying if this relationship is not a suitable relationship, don't lower your standard.
That's right. Okay, the next point, which is the fourth one, is avoid getting into a relationship without sorting out your past. Okay?
Very important.
Bringing baggage into a relationship doesn't work well. You know, it's like, oh, okay, everything this person does now will become a trigger. He does something and you're like, oh, okay, I saw that before. I saw that trait before. And you're so suspicious of this person. In no time, that relationship will collapse. It's either it collapses or you just manage it, knowing that you're not really enjoying your experience in this relationship. Let's just put up with it, and you put up with it into marriage. You carry on putting up with each other. Sort out your past. There
is something people always say. They always say, hurting people hurt others. Now, there are people who have been hurt by the relationship they were in before. So instead of them to sit down and heal that hurt, what are they doing? They jump into the next relationship because they said, I would rather be in a relationship that address my personal pain. What happens is this: once they enter a new relationship, they are bringing out all that emotional hurt that have not been put to rest, have not been addressed. They are bringing into this relationship, and they are using that lens to view this new relationship, and they are projecting that negativity into this relationship. So, for example, there was a lady that we worked with. You know, she was heartbroken twice. In fact, it got to a point where she was going to. They've already done all the things for the wedding, and then the guy called it off. We had to take her through a process of healing. Without her healing, she was absolutely negative, and she had the right to be. She was negative. She was sarcastic about the concept of marriage. She was sarcastic about the concept of relationship.
She was bitter.
She was bitter. That's the key word. So, if you don't heal that, what you're going to do, you're going to be spewing out, you know, like my wife said, any little thing the guy does, the guy may do something little like this, your reaction will be this big.
Yes,
and he's wondering, what is the correlation between this and this? You are not reacting to this, you are reacting to all this other stuff that happened in the past.
Sure.
In your mind, this is how it's coming across. But to the guy, this is how it's coming across. So that's one key thing. We need to heal your past. Heal that past. So when you enter into a new relationship, you are starting what we call tabula rasa. You are starting to the best of your capacity, clean slates, and you are viewing this person for who they are, not what they represent. You know, James and John, they are not the same. Don't punish James for the sins of John, or don't punish Sandra for the sins of Lucy. They are two separate individuals. But the only way you can do that is to heal yourself.
Very important.
All right. Don't go into a new relationship. You know, you're trying to escape that. It's going to follow you. They're going to follow you, right? So
okay, and the next point is something you must avoid. Avoid having sex. In order to keep a relationship.
That's a touchy area for a lot of people.
Avoid having sex. I was talking I was talking with this lady in the course of the week, and she was saying to me, Chidi, there are no gentlemen anymore. Any man you meet just want to have sex and move on. At that point, I said to her, hang on, hey, that's something, you just touched on something very important. Did you say he wants to have sex and move on? Okay, when he has the sex, what do you expect? He'll no longer be a gentleman.
Yeah.
So stop saying this whole thing about there are no gentlemen and all that. Sex colors your perspective.
Yes.
Okay? And just going into sex, you know, going into a relationship, you know, in law, they would say, caveat emptor, let the buyer beware. Okay, so there are checks you need to do, which we'll be talking about in another point. There are checks you need to do because, I mean, relationship is your life now. When they say caveat emptor, that's let the buyer beware. Let the buyer of this property beware. It's your responsibility to, you know, do your checks, do your valuations on this property. Okay, do due diligence. So how come for something that has to do with your life, you start waiting, you just think it's like something like a plus minus thing. I can just go in, try, if it doesn't work, I move on to the next thing. No. So in a relationship, once you have sex, what would often say, it blurs your mind from seeing some red flags, from noticing certain things you should. Emotions are already entangled. How do you say that?
Yes, you're right.
Your emotions are tied together. So when he does something, you're like, And okay, another point we often would say is when you start having sex in a relationship, you put off talking about the things you should be talking about. Okay, those things that we should be addressing. You should be talking about what life we want together, your future. Okay, talking about your values, getting to know each other even better. All you'll be doing is when we meet together, emotions are high. We just want to, get together and do the do.
The thing about sex is this: the moment you start, maybe you start at a certain level. The next time to meet that high, you need to raise it to the next level. You need to raise the 18 sashiro. Alright, it's a slippery slope. Now, another key thing is this: like you said, it blinds the eye of people. And for a lady, from the point of a guy, if the guy is having all that he wants, you are already performed the role of a wife. Why should he be bothered about walking down the aisle? Why buy the car when you can have the milk for free and the meat for free?
Wow.
There's no motivation. That's the, I don't mean that in a rude way, but that's no motivation.
Yes.
See, what do you call it? Suspense. When a guy, like when you're telling a story, you know the punchline, you know the end of the story. It's no longer exciting, or you're watching a movie. Alright, so why show the end of the movie to show where it's going to end up, and then you're surprised what is going to happen? No.
Yeah.
Alright, so as much as possible, don't do that, not from a moral standpoint alone, but from the point of view of your personal dignity. Another good reason is this: once you get into a relationship, what often happens is, what a lot of people don't know, is that it impacts the fundamental core pillar of a relation, which is called trust. The moment the guy, let's say you guys both go further, eventually go ahead to get married, what eventually happens is this: the moment the guy begins to see you with some ladies down the line, or with some guys down the line, and you guys are in some compromising situation, nothing is happening. You've changed. Alright, you only did it with him.
Yes.
On subconsciously, you'll be thinking, if I had it this easy with her, how can I be sure? And that's why some guys live very paranoid life. They are monitoring their wives. They are putting
even some ladies.
You'll
be at work and you'll be wondering, why is he late?
Who is this guy?
He's not called me. Who is he? Who could he be with?
Absolutely.
And then
some people begin to pay private investigators to check. Some people even put spyware on their spouse's phone just to monitor. It's an excruciating life to live. Alright, so don't lay that foundation that will lead and build a foundation. Don't lay a foundation of distrust and expect to have a very happy home.
So very important. Okay, the next point, which I touched on early, partly, is do not avoid getting into a relationship without investigating. You know the way we would always say, investigate before you affectionate. You need to do your checks. Like I said earlier about the property, this is your life. You need to check this person out. Who is this person? Oh, okay, I don't know this person. And now, yes, some people would often say to us, but we met online. You can still do your checks.
Yes.
It's a global world now. It's a global village.
Absolutely.
You can know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows this person.
Absolutely.
Okay, you can find out a lot about people these days. But do not just get into a relationship not investigating this person, and you just hope, okay, I'm going to find out about this person. Truth is, we cannot get to that point where we truly, fully know ourselves. Because I mean, even you as an individual, there are things you do sometimes and you're like, oh, did I really do that?
Good point.
But to a reasonable extent, you need to know what you're walking into.
There are many.
Who you're walking into.
Sorry, love. There are many reasons why it's good for you to investigate. Alright, one of the key reasons is that you investigate for your own peace of mind. Because if you are getting into the most important relationship, or one of the most important decisions in your life, you need to know what you're getting into. Have you ever seen him or her angry? Do you know their habit around money? Do you know their habit around opposite sex? Do you know their habit? There are specific things that because the thing about relationship, about marriage is this: the moment you get married, the person's life will dramatically impact yours. If he's in debt, for example, or she's in debt, is she owing? If she's owing, if you get married, by contract, you inherit that debt one way or the other, whether directly or indirectly. Alright, so that's one key thing. Find out what is his lineage like. Do they have some particular diseases in their hereditary? I'm not saying when you find out you bail. No, know what you are going into, so you know how to prepare yourself. You make what we call an informed decision. Alright. Second reason or third reason why it's good for you to investigate is that if you are bringing this person to your spouse, now you're vetted, you are happy, you are bringing this person, they won't just say, oh, welcome home.
Bringing the person to your parents.
Thank you. They will ask questions. And if you sound unsure, you are not even aware of where they work, basic questions, they're going to think that you don't even know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And what that usually does is that it makes parents hijack the relationship from you, and then they begin to do their own finding. They begin to because you've lost your right. So do thorough checks. I'm not saying I am an FBI agent, but do thorough checks for your own peace of mind. Yeah, it's very important.
Yes. Okay, so the last point is avoid getting into a relationship ignoring red flags. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Stop.
Very important.
Yeah? You cannot just ignore it and expect that when we get into marriage, things will be fine. Oh, no.
That's a powerful
yes.
point.
Things don't just sort themselves out like that. Don't ignore red signs. Sometimes we see people who go through broken marriages, and when you start querying some things, you realize that they saw these signs, but they ignored them.
Absolutely. Sometimes people explain it away. I can change him. I can change her. I love him. He's going to listen to me. You know, you're going to become a Christian because of me. He's going to jump because of me. Hey, people are creatures of habits.
That's true.
All right. If he's an financially irresponsible man, he will not be a financially responsible husband. It's going to be the same. A lizard in Africa will not become an alligator in the US, because it's a character. There is two things: nurture and nature. What is his nature? That is hard to change. All right, and don't think you can change another person. The only person you can change is yourself. Even that one is a hard job. That's a full-time job. So don't ignore a red flag. All right, because you are thinking that, oh, will I get somebody else? Will I, Key thing there is this: define your value, define your baseline, and say anything below this, I'm not going to go anything below this. All right, so what we call negotiable and non-negotiable. If you get our book, Relationship Red Flags, you definitely see that there. So define what are non-negotiable, things that you cannot do without. These are core things for me. If it doesn't have this, I don't matter who you care, whether it's from the palace, it's a royalty. No, if it doesn't meet this, I can't go into, because I know the quality of life I'm going to lead in marriage. All right, so that's key thing. So don't, because of you are desperate, because your biological clock is ticking, and then just take anything that comes at you. Sometimes it's good for you to be single than to live a miserable 30-year life or miserable 20-year life, depending on how long you plan to get married before you eventually quit it. So red flags are powerful. Red flag for her is different from red flag for other people. Red flag for me is different from red. So you define what you mean. In red flag is like no. It's like stop, take a closer look, and reappraise. Do I want to go forward? What is the implication of this for my children? What is the implication of this for my career? So for example, a guy tells you, oh, I believe a woman should be a full-time housewife. I don't want her to work. All this schooling thing for women, I don't believe it. That's what gives women, makes them, begin to challenge the authority of a man. And you are thinking, and that's a red flag for you, because your plan is you want to go abroad, you want to do your masters, you want to do your program, you want to run your business, you want to work to the top of your career, and this guy is saying this, and you are saying you want to change it. Reappraise, step on the brake, reappraise, reevaluate, and ask yourself, what is the implication of this for me going forward? How would this impact my life? How would this impact my well-being? Is this worth sacrificing? Is this guy worth sacrificing my future for? Ask yourself these questions. And what advice will you give somebody else in your position? That advice, take it and apply it. It will be the best for you.
Yes. Okay, so in this video, we've shared 7 relationship pitfalls you must avoid, before going into marriage. We do hope that we've shared some value with you, and you would consider these thoughts, these points, the 7 points we shared, and make some adjustments going forward. All right.
It's lovely being like this. All right, guys.
Until we come your
Take
way,
care.
it's goodbye from us.
Bye-bye.